In this Maamar, there are three levels, basically. In terms of the content of the Maamar, it's Orla, Revoi, and Shana Chamishis. Those are the three ideas. In terms of Hishtalshalos, the three ideas would be, for lack of words, Tzimtzum, Halal, and Hidah. You know, one of the ideas that's discussed an awful lot in Chassidus is the concept of a tziner, tzineris, like Ratzin is Asius tziner. Tziner means a pipe, or a channel, or a canal. You have Maamar Chassidus that explain, it's from Kisvei Arizal, the mashal of derech and the mashal of tzineris, where they'll bring an example from a main artery, a main highway, that goes from the royal city, from the capital to the edges of the civilization. And now from the main highway, you have secondary highways and tertiary highways and quaternary highways. So it all becomes like a spider web of roads coming from a center. So you have Maimorim, where they bring two mashalim. One is from roads, and the other is like from plumbing system, where you have a central line, and from this you have smaller pipes and smaller pipes. And of course, the nimshal for this is hishtalshalos, the kav. Kav is one main artery, one main pipe, and everything goes from it. And the Chassidus, when it discusses this pipe and this road and these secondary and tertiary lines, explains that tzimtzum is very, very important. If the Eibishter gives without channels, without pipes, without roads, he destroys everything. Because the Eibishter is Ein Sof. The whole notion that there's a hashpah, there's a flow that comes from Elokus to us, that we're able to receive in what's called in Chassidus Eiris Bekelim, light and vessels, in a healthy way, in a constructive way, is because it's tzimtzum. Like the Alter Rebbe says, Oilam Chesed Yibonu. The Helam Vehester, the tzimtzum that the Eibishter made in order for the worlds to be able to exist is the ultimate kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Or the other expression which you have in Tanya Perek Memches and Memtes, Ahava Dechekes Abasar. The Eibishter loves us so much, he squeezes himself. In other words, the reality of creation requires, first of all, tzimtzum, constraint, and second of all, a tziner, a pipe, a kav. So, tzineres and tzimtzumim and pipes and drachim, which indicate, which suggest, which denote Medida v'Agbola and Tzimtzum are actually very, very important, because when something is limited, you can be mashpiyat, you can transmit it from one level to another, from one being to another, from one world to another, from one vessel to another, and it should reach the world in a constructive way. So Tzimtzum is very, very important. And very, very often Chassidus will discuss how once Kvayochel, the Eibishter made a Tzimtzum, and you have narrow tzineres, pipes, that create a flow of life that the world is able to manage because it's b'mdida v'akbala, you can increase. And that's the concept of Halal, as we learned last week and the week before last, that Halal means to shine additional light. But you don't shine the additional light initially. First you have to have tzimtzum. First you have to have medida v'akbala. First you have to have a very little amount of life and light and energy, which the world can receive within a finite series of vessels and sub-vessels and so forth. Once the vessel receives a little bit light, it could be an increase in hollow. And in this Maamar, there's three levels. The initial level will be the tzimtzumim themselves, which also give life, but in a very contained way. The subsequent level, the second level, would be halel, hilul, to shine additional light, which basically comes from Tiferes, as opposed to Netzach, Chod, and Yossi, which is the source of the tzimtzumim, and above those two is Heidah, which is godliness that's so infinite that we can't even relate to it at all. We can only acknowledge that it exists. In this Maamar, in last week's class, the Rebbe discussed Orlo. And he linked Orlo as a bad thing. Orlo is klipa. Orlo is the first three fruits, first three yields, first three crops, which comes from Netzach, and Yossi, and it says in Amaz they have to do with klipa. But he explained that there's actually two levels to Orla. There is the sin of Orlas that existed by Adam Rishon, and there is the sin of Orlas that exists in the Torah after Adam Rishon sinned with Orla. What's the difference? The difference is Adam Rishon's Orla was not klipa. Adam Arishan's Arla was Gili Alakus. The fruit for the 3 hours from when Adam Arishan was created until Shabbos had Chayes Alaki, but it was Betzimtzum, it was very constrained. But in that finite Chayes, Adam Arishan could see a Lakus and a Tzimtzum dik away. And the Eibishter said, wait for Shabbos. The Eibishter said, to use alternative words, wait for Halal, wait to increase on these fruit, or as our Maamar calls it, to make a Yichud Zun, to add Tiferes to Nehi, and Adam didn't wait. So Adam's Aveda was not what he did, but that he did. In other words, Adam Arishan eating from those fruit did not constitute Klippa as Adam consumed them. They constituted Kedusha with a minimum amount of Chayes. The sin was, Hashem said don't, and he didn't listen. But then the Maamar goes on to say, because Adam ate fruit, that although they were in a state of Kedusha, they were in a state of Kedusha, but Tzimtzum Gadol, for us Arla became Klippa. He created an entanglement and a confusion. And now Arla does not only represent Chayes Elaki b'mdida v'agbala v'tzimtzum, it represents Chayes Elaki, which is entangled and covered over, and Klippa and so on and so forth, which is terrible. So in other words, there's 2 Arlas. There's the Arla of Adam Arishan, and there's our Arla. The Arla of Adam Arishan is Gili Elakus b'tzimtzum, and the only reason it was a sin is because the Eibishter said, wait for Teisefes, wait for Halal, and it didn't wait. And therefore we deal with Arla on a lower Madreg. Halal is shining additional light, light of Ein Sof. This additional light shines and reaches, it manifests in the vessel in a way of Gili. And the reason it reaches, and the reason it manifests in a way of Gili, is in a way that the vessel is able to receive. It doesn't destroy, it's not overwhelming, but it's enriching, it's enlightening, it's more, it's higher, it's better. And that's Halal. What's Haidah? Haidah is the emes. What's the emes? Absolute Ein Sof. What do we know about the emes? Absolutely nothing. So we say Meida. So the first level is the Chayes Elaki, which is Betzimtzum. And remember, the way it is for us, it's not only Betzimtzum, it's also Betaruves, Bebilbu. But by Adam Arishan it was only Betzimtzum. The second level is B'Teisefes, an extra light, which we can experience the richness of the light, because even though it's extra, it's also somehow limited. And the third Madreg is Haidah. Now I'm going to be honest with you. The way this Maamar works is the Rebbe is going to talk about all 3. I mean, he primarily spoke about the first 2 last week. This week we're going to talk about Halal and Haidah. And he's going to connect it to the 3 years, the 4th year, and the 5th year. That the first 3 years is Arla, is Klippa. The 4th year is the additional light, and the 5th is even more additional light. So I'm going to say it straight. In this Maamar, the 4th year is called Halal, Hilul, which means additional light that shines. The 5th year is also called Halal, also called Hilul, additional light that shines. The way he's going to explain it is that Halal is what he calls in Kabbalah language 2/3 of Tiferes, and that the 5th year is called the highest third of Tiferes. But I'm going to do something prohibited, and I'm going to say that really the difference between the 4th year and the 5th year is the 5th year is Haidah. The first 4 years is Giluyim, and the 5th year is Pashat Atzmos. A Yid lives his regular life in a way of Choil. It's his fruit. He doesn't have to burn it. He doesn't have to take it to the Beis HaMikdash and eat it b'taro, b'simcha. It's his. And in that 5th year, you have the Gili of the highest Medega of Elokus, which is even higher than Halal. So what I'm saying is, Bepashtus, the Maamar is not going to say that the difference between the 4th year and the 5th year is Halal and Haidah. He's simply going to say it's one Madrega of Halal and a second Madrega of Halal. But I believe that if you read carefully, he's really suggesting, he's insinuating that the Shana HaChamishis is higher than Halal. It's not only revealing a higher light, it's revealing the emes of the Eibishter, which is not so revealed, but it's Atzmas Mosein Sav Baruch. So I'm admitting up front that I'm committing a sin, which means I'm going to tell you what the Rebbe says, but I want to add this idea that the highest Madreg is the Shana HaChamishis. And of course, my real source is the Sichos of the Rebbe, of our Rebbe, that I mentioned 2 weeks ago. When I started this series of my Maamar, where the Rebbe brings, when I get to the Nesias, that after 3 years of the Rebbe's Nesias, the Rebbe said, okay, the first 3 years is Orla, now becomes Revoy. And then after the 4th year, the Orla is, the Revoy is finished, now is the 5th year, Shana HaChamishis. And he talked about the 5th year as being unholy, but unholy doesn't mean less than holy, it means more than holy. Because now not only is there holiness in the Jewish world by going to a holy place, there's holiness in the Jewish world by staying in your own home. Your regular life achieves a level of holiness, and the Rebbe linked it to his assessment, to his judgment of his success in the early years of his Nesius. In other words, the degree to which Chassidim collaborated with him to achieve the things that Rebbe wished to achieve. And he protested the lack of accomplishment. 3 years should have accomplished this much, the 4th year should have accomplished more, and the 5th year should have accomplished even more, and so forth and so on. And I also mentioned to you, if you remember, how the Rebbe Rashab in Samach Aleph talked to the Bacharim, who were the first Talmidim of the yeshiva, and said, "You're Orla." Imagine, they were Gedolim, they were mamish great people. And the Nefili describes how they stood and they cried. So this is what's going to be transpiring now. So there's going to be a discussion about the difference between Halal and Hidah. Halal means the light of godliness which is revealed. That's more, but you can feel it. Hidah means the atmos of godliness, which is the absolute truth of Hashem, which is higher than what you can feel. It's the infinite Hidah, it's submission, but it's the highest madreg. And those are the 3 levels. Tzimtzum, Tziner, which is Orla, Halal, and Hidah. So we're ready to start this shir. I'm on line 165, but I need to give you a second introduction. The topic, the Indian, which is going to dominate tonight's class, is Tiferes. He's going to begin discussing Tiferes, let's say on line 200. And the discussion of Tiferes is going to go on and on and on, almost till the end. He's going to be discussing Tiferes. So I want to talk, before we start, I want to talk about Tiferes. Look at line 221. Movin lamaskel shamides hatiferes einim husmid midas shamides. 221. You should know Tiferes is not a midah like all midas. It's a different thing. You'll see it when we get to it. I want to talk about Tiferes as an introduction to this shir. The meaning of the word Tiferes means beauty. So Chassidus, of course, talks a lot about Tiferes, obviously. And let's just talk about beauty. What makes something beautiful? What makes something beautiful? If you have a piece of art that's a conglomeration, it's a convergence of many, many, many different small pieces that are made from various different colors, like something which is more, I don't know the name of the art, but it's a collection of different pieces of glass of various different colors. Each color, each piece isn't beautiful. The beauty lies in the arrangement of the various colors together. When you join many different colors together, the convergence is beautiful. One aspect is never beautiful. Beauty is only when you have diversity, many aspects that are joined together in a way that brings forward the concept of beauty. So let's say this: if red by itself isn't beautiful, and blue by itself isn't beautiful, and green by itself isn't beautiful, and yellow by itself isn't beautiful, and orange by itself isn't beautiful, and violet by itself isn't beautiful, and purple by itself isn't beautiful, and so on and so forth. How can you take a bunch of things that are by themselves not beautiful and join them together and create beauty? If one aspect isn't beautiful, the other aspect, how do you put many not beautiful things together and they become beautiful? And the answer to the question is because the beauty is not in each individual color, and the beauty isn't even in the collection of colors. The beauty is in the one who arranged it. In other words, the reason colors can join together in a beautiful way is because there's an artist. The artist is none of those colors. He's not violet, and he's not purple, and he's not red, and he's not orange, and he's not yellow, and he's not green, and he's not light green, and he's not blue, and he's not sky blue, and he's not navy blue. He's none of those colors. He's an idea. He's above a color. And his imposition on the various colors creates beauty. In other words, something is beautiful because there is something transcendent, something altogether above a color which creates the beauty. To give you a physical example, a very simple physical example, which we've brought up before, and it's in Ayin Beis, it's found in Chassidus, this example. A corner of a room. You have a northern wall and an eastern wall. The eastern wall is a thing. The northern wall is a thing. What's the thing called the corner? And of course the answer is there's no such thing as a corner. Corners don't exist. Walls exist. But everybody knows that if you put two walls together at right angles, you can have a corner. And the answer is, a corner is an idea that comes from a person's mind. So you join together one physical thing, which is called an eastern wall, and another physical thing, which is called a northern wall, and you create a corner. So the corner is physically only the eastern wall and the northern wall, but the way they're arranged reveals something which is not physical, it's metaphysical, it's spiritual, it's the creativity, it's the intelligence, it's the sophistication of the builder who joined them, and that's why that corner has a property which is not eastern wall, it's not northern wall, it's not physical at all, it's an idea. And the same is true of beauty. Beauty is not a physical thing. Beauty is what emerges from arranging physical things in a beautiful way by a person with an imagination. And the beauty is in that person's imagination. Another way of illustrating this is to discuss the word chen. Chen. The Gemara says about Esther. Yerakrakes hoisa. The Esther was actually unattractive. She was pale. But she had chen. And what do we know about chen? The word chen, ches nun. So of course you have the famous contradiction, and again I've talked about this many times, that in the Eishes Chayil it's written sheker ha-chen. Chen is translated in English as vanity. Vanity is false. But in Chumash we have again and again matzasi chen, imna matzasi chen, where the word chen is seen as a very favorable thing. Hashem says, Moshe says to Hashem, im matzasi chen, if I find favor with you, chen. So there's a Maamar in Ein Ches, a Maamar from Parshas Kisisa, from the Rebbe Rashab, where he asks the question. And in short, the question is chen sheker or is chen favorable? And of course, the answer lies in defining chen. Chen means grace. Chen means charm. Chen means appeal, magnetism. Some people are magnetic. Some people just draw people to them. They have a certain grace, a certain charm, a certain magnetic force that pulls people to them. That's what chen is. So, if a person has chen, is it a good thing or it's a bad thing? And the answer to that question is, if the person is corrupt, if the person is empty, if the person is perverse, the chen will be used to enhance all of that falseness. Because people are drawn to them, and they don't see beyond the mask, they don't see beyond the pretty face to the ugliness which is behind it. So the chen covers over the sheker and enhances it. But on the other hand, if a person is substantive and beautiful, the way he's supposed to be, then chen only adds to it. The external beauty enriches the internal beauty. And of course, that's the story of Esther HaMalka. She was incredibly beautiful on the inside, but the chen added that the beauty on the outside enhanced her even further. And in that case, the outer beauty is not only not adverse, it's not only not negative, it's an incredibly positive thing. Well, that's the concept of Tiferes, beauty, Yefi. And the point is that Tiferes is a midah, is an emotion that doesn't really exist. Because there's an emotion of chesed, there's an emotion of gevura. Tiferes doesn't have its own emotion. Tiferes is simply a mixing of a little bit of chesed in the middle of gevura to create a beautiful blend of chesed and gevura. So Tiferes is an emotion, but it's not a separate emotion. It simply is just like a corner exploits an eastern world and a northern world to create a third concept. Tiferes employs chesed and gevura to create a third midah, which is midas HaTiferes. And that's what beauty is. It's an esoteric thing. It's a transcendent thing. It's a metaphysical thing that manifests itself on other physical things. So beauty is physical. You have a beautiful human being, a beautiful person. A really beautiful person is not physically attractive, but spiritually attractive. They're physically attractive as well, but the physical attraction is revealing something deeper. If, on the other hand, the person has only a physical attraction, a physical beauty, and there is no metaphysics, there's no ruchnius behind that beauty only contributes to greater ugliness. And our Maamar is going to explore midas HaTiferes, beauty, and the basic argument of the Maamar is going to be that if you meet a truly beautiful person, and a truly beautiful person like Esther is not only external beauty, aesthetics, but internal beauty, beauty of character. The beauty that you see is much less than the beauty that you don't see. That's going to be one of the messages of this shir. That when you see yofi, beauty, you're seeing it manifest in physical things. But if it's real yofi, it's matzasi chen, as opposed to sheker achein. That beauty, what you're able to see, what you behold of that beauty is much, much less than the burden, the beauty which lies behind it. And that's going to be the concept of Hallel and Tiferes, Shana Revius and Shana Chamishes, that what you see on the outside that beautifies and enriches the Eibishter's world is less than the inner beauty, the deeper beauty which you do not see, which is going to be the third Madrege, which is going to lead to the Shana Chamishes. I trust, I hope that was clear, and let's move to the Maamar. Line 165. Vezehu v'yato meidim anachnu loch u'mahadul l'shem tifartechu. And the discussions we had, and again, I'm presenting it the way I said it in my introduction, that there's three levels: a level of tzimtzum, which is orla, and a level of additional gil, which is halal, which is the fourth year, and then the third level is edah, is very precise in the language of this pasuk. Meidim anachnu loch. When you're talking about the Eibishter himself, all you can do is submit. And you can shine and reveal and praise l'shem tifatecha, to the Eibishter's beauty, because you can see it. To be sure, even the concept of beauty, which you're able to be mahalal, even the level of halal, which is shining additional light, exists because, first of all, there's a tzimtzum amokum panim avoy beitz chayim. And once you have a pipe or a channel or a road, as it described it above, then you can add additional light. God and godliness in and of itself. There's no measure. There's no measure, there's no pipe, there's no direction, there's no containment. Ihu is he klal whatsoever. Rak, and therefore, b'shvil leitiv lebru, in order to be good to his creations, there must be a phenomena of tzimtzum, which reaches off, like I told you earlier, Eilam Chesed Yibana. Avadechakes Abasar, once you have a very constrained, a very limited light, which comes through a channel, then you can add more in that channel. When you later beautify it by adding additional light, the way it's created after the tzimtzum is like any other measure, and it's more revealed, and it's a greater light, and it's a source for it. But Tiferes is only Tiferes if it's in a construct of tzimtzum, as opposed to the Eibishter himself. And therefore, when you talk about Hashem, talking about Atzmos Mehuz, L'cha, it's made him. When you're talking not only about the world in a state of tzimtzum or orla, but in a world in a state of yoifi and hilul and revai, it also has to do with tzimtzum. Pirush l'cha, the meaning of to you, Hanim Husev Atzmos Yisbarach, the Eibishter himself. And therefore, in Shayach Rakidah, all you can do is submit. You can't understand it, you can't appreciate it, you can acknowledge it. V'lei hil, you cannot shine and reveal and praise it. Ki Yisbarach neiras hilas. He's awesome and removed from any kind of praise. And as it says, the Lashna Pasuk leidu miyatil. You want to praise the Eibishter? Keep quiet. When a Gemara Masech the Brachas, the Rambam brings it, that the Gemara says you're only supposed to say Agod Lagiv Neira. When you praise Hashem, you're supposed to use the Nusach from the Pesukim in Tanakh. So the Gemara says there was a certain Tane who said 10 L'shainis, Ha'adir, Ha'amitz, Ha'amitz, Ha'chazak, Ha'izaz, Ha'gibir. So when he finished, maybe it was Rabbi Chanin ben Daisa, another Tane told him, no, so now you praise the Eibishter. The more words you use, the more you diminish him. You want to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, keep quiet. So why do we say Agod Lagiv Neira? Because David HaMelech said it, because Moshe Rabbeinu said it, because Daniel said it, it's Pesukim in Tanakh, it's Nevuah, it's Torah. But you can't possibly praise Ein Seif. And if you could praise it, you could shine it, and you could reveal it, Ein Yirak Lebechin Shmei Yisbarach, it's the Eibishter's name, it's Giluyim. Therefore, only when there's a tzimtzum, nasa keser la'atzilus, you can have a keser for atzilus, which is the beginning of Tiferes and Yofi. Nothing has any relativism to Ein Seif. And Ein Sof itself, you cannot reveal. You can't even reveal it on a level of halal and Tiferes. You can just be made, submit to it. The idea that there should be in truth, bechinas Tiferes b'ha'atzmos, that in the Eibishter himself, there should be infant Tiferes is impossible. From the praise, as you would appreciate this praise, from a worldly perspective, This is impossible. Mitzat midas ha-tiferes. Uke'inyin emes omar al yivra b'chol. If you remember, the first discussion that I had with you 2 weeks ago was about chesed and emes. So here, it's Haidah and Halal. Halal means what you could praise, because you could reveal to me, you could appreciate it. And it's connected to Tiferes. And Halal is L'chol. Rak mebechinas malchus dein sof, only when you have a tzimtzum. And nimshech moked liyes kesed l'atzilus, it becomes a source to be a crown for atzilus. That becomes the basis for revealable beauty. Rak achar sheneslu atzilus. Eser spheres, you have the 10 spheres. And then once you have the tzimtzum, the pipe, the channel, the tziner of the 10 spheres, you can add something from above the 10 spheres, which is being brought into the 10 spheres to beautify the 10 spheres. So Halal is the Eibishter, Haidah is the Eibishter himself. You can just say it is. I submit, I acknowledge that it exists, I can't appreciate it. Halal means the beauty of additional godliness which you're adding to the tzimtzum dika world. And of course, the tzimtzum dika world in our Maamar is Orla, like I explained to you in the introduction. The increase, the extra richness and beauty, which is revealing godliness, but through the channels, through the pipes, through the tzimtzum. This is Halal and this is Tiferes, and it does Atzabus. And then the Rebbe says something very interesting. V'hine, Inyan mitzvahs aseyu, mitzvahs leisaseh azeh kinyan bracha veda. There's positive mitzvahs and negative mitzvahs. Positive mitzvahs are do this, do this. The negative mitzvahs are don't do this, don't do this. What's the difference? A positive mitzvah is a bracha. What does the bracha mean? I'm bringing down godliness. A negative mitzvah is Haidah. I'm not doing it. So I don't get anything. I just don't do. I submit. So the Rebbe says, mitzvahs leisa says Haidah, mitzvah says bracha. V'lachein, therefore, kiyam mitzvahs leisa says, the fulfillment of the negative commandment of Shalei Shanim Yiyah Lachem Areilim V'Gemer. The first 3 years you're not allowed to touch. It's Arla. Zeu ki inyan meidem anach, the concept of Haidah. Now here the Rebbe is saying something which should make you nervous. Why? Because according to this Maamar, what's the highest madrege? Haidah. What's the middle madrege? Halal. What's the lowest madrege? Klipa. What does he say here? That Haidah is mitzvahs leisaseh. He links the highest level to the treif, where you're not allowed to eat. There's a contradiction here. And of course the answer is that it says in Chassidus that a leisaseh has a higher source than a aseh. You've learned Mari Chassidus, a lot of Maamarim will tell you that aseh is higher than a leisaseh. But some Maamarim will tell you that a leisaseh has a higher source. Why? On the lower level, a leisaseh is lower than an aseh because aseh is revealing godliness into the world and a leisaseh is protecting you from klipa. On a higher level, it's exactly the opposite. An aseh brings godliness to you that you can create a vessel for. That's what aseh means. You create a vessel to bring light. What's leisaseh? There's a godliness. And you can't create a vessel for it. It's infinite. But if you don't do anything wrong, it may come on its own. Like matzas reshus and arvis reshus and even a tam tefillin and shalot you don't make a bracha. We talked about this in the past. It's higher than a bracha. It's higher than a vessel. So on the lowest levels, leisa says worse than aseh. Leisa do it klipa arla. Pardon me. On the highest level, it's actually the other way around. The leisa seh opens you up to a light of godliness that the moment you put your hands out, you frightened it away. And therefore, there is the leisa seh, which is lower than the aseh. The leisa says orla, the aseh is halal. And there's the leisa seh, which is higher than the aseh. And that's Haidah, which is higher than halal. And of course, you learned this in Chassidus. It says Mashiach is going to come again in leisa seh. There's a sikha from the Rebbe. Teirech Adashim Iti Teitzei, Tafshin and Aleph Shvuas. Where the Rebbe talks about aseh and leisas, and he asks a pasha kasha. Mashiach comes, there'll be no klipa. If there's no klipa, we have to have leisas. Now you're not allowed to do certain avedas because of klipa. If there's no klipa, why is everything not permitted? So he explains that leisas now is protecting you from a klipa. Leisas Eliyasid Love is opening yourself up to a light that you have no business getting. When you make a vessel, you can get a light which can fit into that vessel. What about a light that can't fit in that vessel? That can also reach you. You're just not allowed to try without a vessel. So Leisa Sela Asad Lave is going to be a kli for a higher Gilui than an Aseli Asad Lave. So the concept of a Leisa Se being Haidah, which is higher than Bracha, as opposed to a Leisa Se being Klipa, which is lower than Halal, is because there's two Leisas. There's a Leisa because of Klipa, and there's a Leisa to open yourself up to Atzmas and Hus, and that's how he means that a Leisa says Haidah. It's higher than Halal. Says the Rebbe, line 182, Vaydeizeh. When you first have Haidah, later on, you reveal the Tiferes, the beauty of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is the fourth year. Hainu yekol pirye kedesh ilul. That the fourth year, the fruit is a praise. It's a halal. It's a Tiferes. It's higher than mitzvahs leisas. And again, there's a concept of Haidah which is lower than halal, and there's a concept of Haidah which is higher than halal. And we're going to leave this alone. These few lines, it's hard to understand, at least where it appears in the Maamar. I gave you some thoughts and we're moving on. Line 190, the fifth year is even more than the fourth year. And again, the Pshutei Shel Maamar that we're going to learn now is that the fifth year is not Haidah, it's just more halal, it's more Tiferes. Like I said to you in my second introduction, that the way this Maamar is going to work is that halal of the fourth year is 2/3 of Tiferes. The halal of the fifth year is the highest third of Tiferes, and I propose that perhaps it's also connected to Haidah, but that's the subtext, that's the pnimius. Says the Rebbe on line 191, B'seifeh Shari Yere Shar Hei, Pirush, She'az Hu B'chinas Hei Achrein. When the fifth year comes, Malchus becomes the second Hei of Shem Havai, which is why it's called Shana HaChamishes. The fifth year is connected to the letter Hei. I know when he explains Ki Malchus, because Sfiras HaMalchus, where everything has to be revealed. And in the first 3 years that only Nihi is revealed, Malchus is Orla. And the fourth year when Tiferes is revealed, Malchus is Dalet. And the fifth year when Tiferes is revealed even more, Malchus is Hey. Lepamim b'shem Dalet, lepamim b'shem Hey. Sometimes Malchus is represented by the letter Dalet, and sometimes Malchus is represented by the letter Hey. V'zeh Winyan Yehuda, which is why Yehuda's name is Yesh Bei Dalet v'Hei, two Madreges in Malchus. In other words, when you're looking at it, the number of Oisius, Yud K, Vav K, so the Hekin, second Hey is the fourth letter. When you're looking at it as the shape of the Os, it's the letter Hey, which is on the number 5, because you're including also Kesed, the Kutzei Shel Yud. And the Rebbe explains, to explain the difference between Halal and Tiferes of the Dalet, the fourth year, and Halal and Tiferes of the Hey, the fifth year, up in Mashkos, it says in the Ramaz. B'shon or Revi'is, the fourth year, Mikabelas Mishnei Shalishim Shalat Tiferes Hainu Adachos. The fourth year, 2/3 of Tiferes, which would mean Chagas of Tiferes and Nehi of Tiferes. But and when you only have the lower 2/3 of Tiferes, Nikras Dalid, because it's Mechabah Midalid Bechinis, Tantehi, Tiferes Nezachei Yisayid. So 4 is 4 spheres. The first 3 is Allah, and the fourth. Is the fifth year, in the fifth year, you get the highest third of Tiferes. It's the letter Hey. So the Rebbe, Alter Rebbe says, "Ubi your inyan shlishin elu shebe Tiferes." I want to explain it, and this is the opening to the second introduction I gave you today about the concept of beauty. Beauty can be totally superficial, in which case it's almost evil, but beauty could be from the inside out, and beauty which is from the inside out, what you see is less than what is. And the 2/3 of Tiferes is the external beauty. The highest third of Tiferes is the beauty which is the source of the beauty, which you cannot see, and it emerges in the Shana HaChamishes. That's what's going to transpire here. And he explains. There's beauty by people. And beauty that exists by people, yesh b'chabad, chagas, nihi. When a human being is beautiful, or a human being beautifies something in the world, there is the chabad of that beauty, there's the chagas of that beauty, and there's the nehi of that beauty. And he explains, chabad hu haseichel v'asaga lama yispoir. The chabad is the idea which is the source of the beauty. So the brain understands beauty, kedei sheyishapchu v'yakiru tefata, to praise and recognize its beauty, ve'godlei ve'spairet shabalibe lehispoir, to beautify huatzim chagas shaba. In other words, in these 2 lines, there's 2 levels of beauty. Beauty is something you want people to see. And people are going to see it, they're going to praise it. And the source of the praise is the mind's anticipation of what's going to be conceived as beautiful. So the highest beauty is the Chabad, how the brain anticipates, to use a term that's used in Chochmas Chitzenius, the intellectual elegance, the preciseness of the creation, which will then manifest itself in the Tiferes, in the praiseworthiness of whatever it is that you're observing, and the Nehi is going to be what you actually see. Or Nehihu, the lower third of that beauty, a physical, behavioral beautification, to use this example, as a king shows the richness and the grandeur of his kingship, the preciousness of the beauty of his greatness, and he speaks words, through these words others will see his praiseworthiness. Says the Rebbe, this is what people see. The actions are words, through which the person represents himself in a beautiful way, is mebechinas hishavei. That's the lowest level of what beauty actually is, which is lebar migufa, what's seen to others outside of the body. It's certainly less than the beauty as it's experienced by the one who is beautiful, and it's alachas kama v'kama less than the intellectual basis from which the beauty radiates, from the beauty flows. So there's three levels of beauty. There's the beauty that people see, there's the beauty that the person demonstrates, and there's the concept of beauty, which is the source of what the person is showing, which is then manifest in what the person has shown. A little bit differently. For example, there's boastfulness, there's beauty in a physical action. This beauty is something outside of the person, separated from the person himself. For example, beauty, the person should be beautified and praised in his actions. For example, a beautiful vessel, a beautiful picture. You see the creativity, you see the talent of the artist in his art. But when you see the talent of the artist in his art, you appreciate that there's much more to the artist than what this particular picture is demonstrating. The praise is primarily what you're able to observe in this vessel and the workmanship. This is very far removed. If a person can make such a beautiful vessel, how beautiful is he? Now, of course, you don't mean how beautiful he is physically. You mean how beautiful he is metaphysically. But the inner beauty of that person you'll never be able to see. You can only see it in the symptoms. It's not praiseworthy. The place where you see the beauty in a way that you can praise it is in the physical vessels that he creates. Who moved the vessel is separate from the person. So what you see as beautiful in the world is it's a secondary, a tertiary symptom of the beauty within the imaginer of that beauty. What would be an example of beauty which would be closer to the artist? So he continues, line 214. Aval, as opposed to when you praise something which is not separate from the person. Is a beautiful voice. Now, voice is also an expression, but voice is an expression that the person cannot separate from. I guess today, with recordings, you can hear the voice of a person who's died 100 years ago. But theoretically, a voice has to be connected to the source of the voice, rather than a piece of art which can be on canvas. So a voice reveals beauty that's much closer to the source of that beauty. Shu Adav Me'ed, it's very pleasant. Toyer B'Yeser Atzmus Midas HaTiferes. The beauty that's closer to Atzmus, to what beauty is by himself, is available in a beautiful voice. Bazeh Mimash Yefaru V'Yeshapchu Es Mechtavei V'Tzeyurei Ukadem. It's a far more intimate beauty than the beauty you can see in his writing and in his drawing on a piece of paper. V'chein, a third example, a beautiful body. A beautiful body you can't duplicate. I guess you can duplicate that as well. It's even closer to the person. Umikolshkein, and even more so, you praise, you beautify his mind, which of course is the deepest level of the person. That the thing that is closer to what the person is by himself, when it's praised, is a deeper beauty than something which is farther away from the person as he is by himself. It awakes the midah of beauty in a more atzmos way, as opposed to when the beauty is showing itself in something which is further away from how this person is beautiful in and of himself. It's secondary and tertiary, it's lower. So there's three Tifereses. This Tiferes in the He, which is what people see. This Tiferes in Chagas, which is what people show. And there's Tiferes in Chabad, which is what people are. Says the Rebbe, moving Lamask, all of us understand, Shemidas Tiferes in general, on all levels. On the Nehi level, on the Chagas level, there's no such thing as beautiful. Beautiful is not a thing. Beautiful is an arrangement. So it's a spiritual midah, it's a transcendent midah. Einemos midah, mamesh, kishara midah. There's a big difference between the measure of Tiferes and other midas. Why? Because sheheim etzem mamshachas dvar ma. Other midas are an actual manifest thing. Kamei chasadim, kindness, is an actual thing. Or gevuras, or exactitude, it's an actual thing. What's Tiferes? There's no such thing. It's a mixture of chesed and gevura. But the mix, the blender that mixes chesed with Tiferes does not exist. There's no third emotion. There's an idea, like a corner. So it's a transcendent thing. Aval Tiferes is the inclusiveness of the various midas. She'eshna b'chol midas, which is the center of all of the emotions. She'eina rakinyan hakavana v'atayeles b'chol midah lama timashach or la'ezet tzedek. Beauty is taking the existent forms of chesed and gevura and netzach and hoid and using them in a purposeful way. That purposefulness is the Tiferes. Chesed, to do kindness, that one should recognize the goodness and the kindness of a particular person. Says the Rabbi, the beauty of kindness is using kindness effectively. The beauty of wisdom is using wisdom efficiently. Hakavana, this means hashpas haseichel, using the mind and the intellect, that others should see the wisdom of the wise. So that demonstration, that bringing forward, is the beauty. Even will can be beautiful. Why one desires? So the Rebbe says, beauty is always esoteric. Whether it's on the level of Chabad, on the level of Chagas, on the level of it's always esoteric. But it's especially esoteric when you're talking about beauty which is not yet beholden. It's not yet visible. It's still part of the beautifier. Says the Rebbe on line 228, now let's talk the Nimshal. That we know from Kabbalah that the Tiferes is divided into three parts. Shabachin is Tiferes, Dulas is Barach Shabbatilus. The beauty, which is the greatness of Hashem and Atzilus, Shayach Ba Gamkin Gimel Shlishnas, 3/3. Let's talk this through. If you don't have any Tiferes, you have Tzimtzum, you have Arla. Even if you have the greatest of Tiferes, you have only Halal. Because Haidah is higher than any kind of Tiferes. But in between Arla, which is Tzimtzum, without Tiferes, and Haidah, which is unrevealable and higher than Tiferes, there's three levels of Tiferes. There's Nehi of Tiferes, there's Chagas of Tiferes, and there's Chabad of Tiferes. And the argument of the Maamar is that in the fourth year you have Nehi and Chagas. And the fifth year you got the Chabad. Hainu, this means Azoy. Shadibur Elyen Midas Malchusa Yizbarach. All of us know that the Eibush created the world with words. And the source of those words is the Eibush Midas HaMalchus. So if the Eibush is creating the world only with words, it's a narrow tziner, it's Eilam Chasad Yibana, it's very constrained. But when you add to the words of the Eibush the beautiful beauty, it enriches those words that godliness should not only create the world, but should be visible and revealed in the worlds. Makabel tchila, initially the words of creation will receive rak mishlish hatachten shal Tiferes, the lower third of Tiferes, which is what? You look at the world and you say, this is a gorgeous world, somebody made it. That's already midas Tiferes, but it's the nehi of Tiferes. What the creations can see in their world, which was created by the Eibishter's words. You're also seeing beauty. You're also seeing Tiferes. But Tiferes in Asiyah, Tiferes that it's manifest in the world. Like it doesn't say that this Barach Bashamayim Mavaras Mitochas Al Kol Shevach Masiyah Decha Yefaruch Hasela. The praise of what Hashem created, this is the beauty that we can see. In other words, Shakol Le'elameis, all of the worlds, Shamayim V'Haaretz, the heaven and earth. And it's Loshna Gemara Min Ha'aretz L'Rekiya Takshana, the incredible expanse of space, from the earth until the lowest heaven and so forth. Ein Ela B'Chinas Masiyah Decha is after all only the creation of Hashem's hands, or Hashem's mouth. Shekemei Shebemaseh the Adam Al Derech Mashal, just like when a physical human being creates something with his hands. And in his creation you see beauty. It's the beauty on the level of Asiyah. All there is the power of deed. And even when you beautify it, it's the Tiferes of Nehi. Kach, similarly, the vitality, the life in the creation itself. Is the lowest level of divine energy which invests itself to create on the level of Asiyah. It's altogether removed from what the Eibishter's mahus is. Nimtza accordingly, whatever praise and beauty humankind can see in the act of creation, creating the words is the lowest third of Tiferes. Line 246, which is the pshat. The speech of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the basis of the creation of the Eibishter, creates a beautiful world. And in as much as it's creating not just a world, but a beautiful world, mikabel mishlish hatachten shel midas hatiferes shabatzilus. The lowest third of the beauty in Atzilus is when you look at the world and you see beauty, but you don't see in that beauty the Eibishter necessarily. It's the beauty of what a person does. But then there's a second level, and then there's a third level. Second level is that there's a revelation where you could see it coming from the Eibishter. And the third level is the source of the revelation, which normally you cannot see. And now on line 248, the Rebbe gives another insight. Perhaps. We understand that there's three levels of Tiferes. All are beautiful. But one is the beauty in an action. The other is the intent or the emotion which is behind that action. Another is the idea which is the source of those two. Perhaps Inyan Gimel Shlishin the Tiferes, the three levels of beauty, Al Derech Sheklalos Ha'elames Nechlakim LeGimel. The three worlds divided up into three parts. But over here, three does not mean Asiyah, Yetzirah, and Bria. No. Because Asiyah, Yetzirah, and Bria are all Tzimtzum. It means Bia, Atzilus, and Hilmes Ein Sof Shalom Al Atzilus. The lowest beauty is the beauty of the three worlds themselves. The second beauty is how you see Atzilus in the lower three worlds. And the third beauty is you seeing Kesed, Ein Sof. And it connects it to a famous Zayir in Shlach. V'ayim Hashikostav Aramaz Pasha Shlach Ta'kufnan Tes Seifim Mit Aleph. Bepira Shamayim Atlas Almin Isla Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's three worlds, and of course these three worlds are connected to the Azora and the Heichal and the Kedesh Hakadoshim, the Gimel the Yud, and the Kedesh Hakadoshim is Ein Sof. The Heichal is Atzilus, and the lower three worlds is Bia. Now these three types of world, which is not Bria Tzir Nasiya, but Ein Sof, Atzilus, and Bia, Mizgala Yeser, there's an increase in what is revealed, Miyikar, Tiferes, Gedulas, Ein Seiv Baruch Hu, from the preciousness and the beauty of the greatness of the Ein Sof, as it reveals itself in the various worlds. But the key word in this conversation is the word Gilui. Says the Rabbi on line 257, everything I just said is like Bechinas Heiramir Be'elamis. And again, according to this Maamar, the lowest third of Tiferes is revealed, the middle third of Tiferes is revealed, and the highest third of Tiferes is also revealed. And Heidah is higher than all three. Aval batzmus is baruch. When you're talking about Hashem as He exists in His relationship with Himself, it's not beautiful at all. Ein shayich shum asaga. There's no apprehension. You can't reach it. You can't appreciate it. You can't see its beauty at all. Rak meidem. You submit. You know it's true. Anachnu lach. And if we could praise, if we could beautify, if we could reveal, if we could see, which is beauty. So when the Torah says, Orla don't eat because it's tzimtzum, Revoi do eat because it's halal, says the Rebbe, halal means godliness which is revealed, that's perceivable, that you can praise, that you can celebrate. And higher than both of those is Heido. And now he articulates what we've already discussed, Vihine, line 260. B'shan Aravius, during the 4th year, which is called Hallel, Mekabel et Knesset Yisrael, Malchus of Atzilus receives and then transmits to the lower worlds, Mishlish ha'acharen shumidas tefarti yisbarach, the lower third of Tiferes, which is the beauty of his actions. For Amas also, but in Kabbalah, on the Pirush on Zeir, it says, Mishnei Shlish, the 4th year, we don't only get the Nehi, we get also the Chagas of Tiferes. Haynu Masha Nivra, Yem Yuchal Ha'ala Kadosh Baruch Hu. We not only praise what He did, but that He did it. Shenikraim Shevach Matidach HaKanal. And therefore the Rebbe says, V'zeh Yilulim Hashem, why it says by the 4th year, it doesn't say Kedesh Halo. It says Kedesh Hilulim. What's Hilulim Lashon Rabbi, Manushnei Bechinas Hilul, which is basically Shat Tiferes. Above the lower 2/3 of beauty, you can see the beauty of what He did, you can see the beauty of what He's doing, you can't see the beauty of the doer, which is the highest kind of yefi. Allah, but nevertheless, when you are careful about the avoy, and you eat it besimcha, and you eat it betara, and you eat it in Yerushalayim, and therefore you're able to celebrate the revelation of the Eibishter's beauty on the level where you're able to perceive the lower third. And the middle third, when it comes the 5th year, it happens by itself. You tap into the beauty not of what the Eibishter does, but what the Eibishter is. Which is the 5th year. And the 5th year, it's your private tfuah. But in this private tfuah, which you're allowed to eat as chulin and even as tumah, you have the atzmos of elokus. That's when malchus becomes, instead of a dalad, a hey. Masha bechinas dalad. Shu bechinas dalad, lashon dalad zvanias. The 4th year is still considered limited. Lagab bechinas undu hey, which is richer. So that's the difference between the 4th year and the 5th. And again, I'm telling you, in this Maamar, both the 4th year is halal, and the 5th year is halal, and Eidah is higher than both. But I believe that the Rebbe is also hinting that the 5th year is already a concept of Eidah, like he said before about mitzvahs leisasa. Ve'ef shleimer eid in a different way. Yigim harishain is the first 3 year. Hem kineged b'yah correspond to the lower world of B'yitzir and Asiyah. Shadi but elyon mustabem, where godliness is concealed. And therefore, v'em yesh v'dav nif of the atzmein, as I told you earlier, by Adam Rishon, it's not a yesh, it's only mitzumtzum. But after the chet of Adam Rishon, it's klipa and it is a yesh. Atzilus is not joining with the lower 3 worlds. So not only is the chayis alaki in the lower 3 worlds, but tzimtzum, it's klipa. It's the 4th year. When you reveal godliness that's revealable from Atzilus into the lower 3 worlds. Malchus, which is the basis for the lower 3 worlds, which by themselves are klipa, joins with Atzilus. And as a consequence of the revelation of Atzilus in Malchus, and subsequently into the lower 3 worlds. It brings down Ein Seif Behanivroyim into the creations. Al derech mo ro al kacho mo higi aleim. It's a pasuk in the Megillah, right? The literal translation of the words is mo ro al kacho. Why did they see all of this? Or mo higi aleim. Why did all this happen to him? So Chassidus teaches mo ro al kacho. What did they see? Mo higi aleim. Mo reached them. Mo is chachma. So mo is the halal. Oza yekol pirye kedesh ilulim. The fruit reveals the Eibishter, reveals godliness, therefore it's halal. And then he concludes, that Bechinas Shana HaChamishis is not from Atzilus, but higher than it is. In other words, it's not the highest of Tiferes, it's Keser. Leheisav Lechem, Zeu Teis V'Ser, which is Keser. And I would like to say that this means Hoidah, which is altogether higher than Halo, or Misham Dafke Nimshech Tesefa Ser Leisav Lechem B'Cholo. Very simple, very easy, very nice Maamar. And basically, the Rebbe taught us what Orla is, what Ravoi is, and what Shana HaChamishis is. And of course, the ultimate irony is that the highest Madreg in Avedas Hashem is Chulin, is living your regular life as a Jew, where it doesn't have to be holy in order to be holy. It's the ultimate holiness. And believe me, the next week we'll start a new Maamar.